When we talk about succession, we're talking about transferring some entity from one generation to another generation. Got another really good friend who was in the process of passing his church on, looking for a couple to take the church as the new pastors. And so he spends a number of years with this new couple as associate pastors, and he's grooming them and training them and that kind of thing. And then just this year, actually during a very significant week for this church, this guy decides, no, I've had enough. But not only that, he split the church, took as many of the people as he could, and went off and planted a new church the same Sunday. So what do you think? What do you think's missing, or what do you think we could do better? One of the things that's come up is that it's important to pass the leadership on to the next generation. Don't skip a generation. Is that succession won't work if you try to skip a generation. Because if you skip a generation, you're skipping a connection that's really, really important. And you're thinking, oh yeah, well, the next generation, they're quite old too, you know. The reason that we're passing this ministry on is not because we're old. I can still do it. But it's because we want it to grow. It's a different thing. My next generation is my own kids. But in a lot of ministries, the next generation are guys that are almost as old as you are or whatever. Or maybe, 10 years younger or whatever. You think, well, man, maybe we should get somebody 20 or 30 years younger, right? That can really carry this thing. But the thing is, if you skip a generation, wow, there's a lot of dynamics that happens there. Let me just take Thailand, for example. We've got the Matt and Becky Swang, Leanne, Oon Renee's, Chris and Tabs, and all these guys that are the next generation, the Ewan and Dows and Josh and some, just so many of them, precious, precious people, right? And they all look to Terry and I as the parents, right? And that's the relationship that works for succession for sure. If I bypassed that whole generation, it would leave them out. It would park them on the side of the road after all of the years of investment that they too have put into this very same thing. I'm not the owner. I'm the co-owner, right? We take ownership, but all these other guys, the reason that they're the successor team is because they've taken ownership as well. So you've got a generation who've been working hard and producing highly. And if you skip over them, yeah, you're actually going to break succession is what's going to happen. If you are the next generation, you're looking for the time and looking forward to the day when leading this thing is going to be your responsibility. And here again is why I'm saying succession doesn't start when I'm old. It starts when I began. My kids have to know from the very beginning that whatever we build is going to be theirs, It's going to be their responsibility. It's going to be theirs to carry on to the next generations. If you're looking for somebody to replace someone that already exists, you're looking for a replacement. You're not looking for a successor. Now, one of the questions that I've thought about a lot is what about, say a pastor who moves around, maybe he's pastoring this church for a while and then he's pastoring that church for a while. That's probably not succession happening there. That's just replacement, right? And that's fine because it depends on what the calling is and what the purpose is. Succession really matters in something that you're going to build over a lifetime. And something that you're going to build as a father, right? As a parent. That's how you can identify what it is that needs to succeed from one generation to another. Is there something here that I need to pass to another father, right? Not to a replacement, but to a father. If you're looking for a replacement, look for a younger person with great potential. Peter Drucker says, don't pass the leadership to someone because they have potential. Pass it to them because they're productive. So actually, we're not looking for a young, gifted person. We're looking for a mature, gifted, high production, right, successful person that can take it to the next level, because it's going to be the next level for them too. And I don't want the next level to be some young guy floundering around trying to figure out how to do ministry. I want it to be somebody who could take what it is that we built and move it to the next level. As Rick Warren said when he first Sunday that he started the Saddleback Church in California, that he told the people, he said, I'm committed to lead this church for 40 years. And it wasn't that it's going to end in 40 years, but the idea was that I am making a long-term commitment. And so now it's been 43 years, and a couple of things that we can learn from that is, one, if you don't have that kind of a commitment, you're not going to have a successful succession. Because a big part of what we're passing on from one generation to another is that level of commitment. It's the culture. So a succession plan is not a chronology of time or a date that you set that, okay, I'm going to be passing this thing on at such and such a date, such and such a year. It's a people process. And so if your goal is, to be done, you better be ready to stay longer, because it's a people process. And so there's a lot of things that are unpredictable. I find that succession is not an end, it's just a shift. Terry and I will just be continuing to shift and shift until the day we die. It's a continual shift into different aspects, different reaches, and different things that become important in our lives, because now some of the other people are taking the other things that were important 10 years ago and growing them and expanding them, but there's always room for you. So that's one of the things that I find that guys that when they get to be, let's just say retirement age, 60, 70 or whatever, they're worried that now they're going to become redundant, or there's going to be nothing for them to do, nothing significant for them to do. But that's not true at all. Succession means that we have an increase in influence through every shift time. And our influence is increasing. In fact, it's touching different areas, different realms of the kingdom of God that it's never reached to before.